Nanda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrind Jaya Jaya Śrī Caitanya Jaya Nityaānanda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Vande Guru Nisha Bhakta Nisha Nishavadarakan Tat Prakasham Satat Shakti Krishna Chaitanya Sangyakam Granthera Arambha Kori Mangala Charana Guru Vaishnava Bhagavan Tinera Smarana Haya Vigana Vinashana Anayasa Sapal Nijavanchita Purana Shri Rupa Raghunatha Padayarasha Chaitanya Charitamrita Kahe Krishna Dasa Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namini Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityaānanda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, dear worshipful devotees, for joining. We are reading today Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta, the sweet nectar of Lord Chaitanya and his pastimes, written by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. We are at Adi Lila, chapter 5, entitled The Glories of Lord Nityānanda Balarāma. And here we have read till text number 58. We are having discussion about Prakriti, Pradhana, etc., which are all basically coming, the two forms of Maya, the cause Maya and the Prakriti Maya, which are basically coming from the Karunadakshayi Vishnu. That was the last point which we were trying to understand. So let's move on to the next verse, text number 59. Jagata karana nahe prakriti jara rupa shakti sanchariya tare Krishna kare kripa. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Because Prakriti is dull and inert, it cannot actually be the cause of material world. But Lord Krishna shows his mercy by infusing his energy into the dull, inert material in nature. Hare Krishna. So there's no purport here, but the point is very clear that Lord Krishna glances over Prakriti. What is, I was hearing a class by His Holiness His Holiness Bhanu Maharaj. So he was explaining that how this the Mahatattva, and I have a special, I found this nice document as well, which I'll share with everyone. These are the 24 elements of the Sankhya philosophy, the Pradhana, from which basically everything comes. Pradhana or Prakriti. What is Pradhana? Pradhana basically means chief. Chief, like Pradhan Mantri, Pradhan, Mantri, like the chief minister, or the prime minister, prime cause, the primeval. And Prakriti, what is Prakriti? Prakriti is basically nature, right? Or in this connection, the original chief matter, the original prime matter, which is indetectable. It is indetectable. Even the scientists in the modern world, they call it the dark matter. The dark matter. They cannot reach it. It's beyond our sensory purview. It's the original cause. And as we are reading in this verse also in text number 59, It's the actual, it cannot be actually the cause of the material world, but because Prakriti is dull and inert. So it's the original dark matter, which even the scientists say they cannot see. So who is the one who infuses his energy? Very nicely mentioned here. Lord Krishna shows his mercy by infusing his energy into the dull matter. His energy basically in the form of time or other aspect, his glance. So Lord Krishna is the one who is the original cause. So he's energizing, we can say, the Prakriti. Like the father gives the seed to the mother, and then the mother carries on and raises the child, and gives birth to the baby. Very similarly, Prakriti is like the mother, who is the one who gives the infusing energy, or is the father, which is Lord Krishna, and his Shakti. Let's read the next verse. Yes, people want to.
Thank you, Guruji. Hare Kṛṣṇa devotees, Dhamma Pranam, all also Śrīla Prabhupada, text 60. Krishna Shakti Prakriti Hai Gauna Karan, Agni Shakti Loho Jaise Karoye Jaran. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Śrīla Prabhupada Vijay. Thus, Prakriti, by the energy of the Lord Krishna, becomes the secondary cause, just as iron becomes red hot by the energy of fire. So, as you said, Prabhuji, that Prakriti is a dull inert. So, by the energy of the Lord, it becomes the material world. And here also material world is called the secondary cause. And it is given by the example that iron becomes red hot by the touch of the fire. So here the fire is the Lord's energy that makes the Prakriti into the material world. Back to Prabhuji. Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Very well. Thank you, Prabhu. So Prakriti is referred to as Gauna Karana. So the indirect Karana or indirect cause. What is the prime cause? The prime cause or the original cause is
Lord's energy.
The Lord's energy, or Krishna. He's the hand behind who's running the show. Or in this case, Krishna's energies, Krishna's expansions. But if we trace back, okay, what was the cause for that cause? Okay, what was the cause for that cause? Who is the cause for Karunadakshaya Vishnu? Okay, who's the cause for the secondary, the quadruple expansion or Chaturvyu? Who's the cause for the first quadruple? Okay, Balarāma is the cause of his cause. And then originally we reached to one cause, Sarva Karana Karanam, that's Krishna. So iron becomes red hot, as good as fire, right? But what is by the energy of the fire, the iron becomes red hot. So iron also becomes energized like fire by the energy of fire. There is no difference. When we touch the red hot iron, we'll get the same effect of burning as we get while touching the fire. So maybe it's good to show this chart also. So the 24 elements we were talking about. So 5 gross elements, 5 sense objects. So earth, water, fire, air, ether. Sense objects are the sound, touch, sight, taste, smell. And then sound we hear through ears, touch through skin, sight through eye. The sense acquiring, knowledge acquiring senses. And the 5 working senses, hands, legs, voice, speech, anus, and genitals. And then the subtle elements, these are all the gross, these are the subtle, mind, intelligence, and ego, and ultimately the Pradhana. So Pradhana is the unmanifest three modes of nature, three subtle elements, subtle body, the five gross elements constitute the outer body, which we have discussed very well. I hope it's helpful. Any thoughts, comments here? This we have discussed multiple times, so it's good to reflect again. So now a little bit from what I heard today from His Holiness Bhanu Swami Maharaj. So Kala is the agitator of the Pradhana, right? The energy of Kala or time, which is Krishna's energy. Just imagine, like as we have discussed, in the unmanifested, and then you put some energy and then they start to manifest. And that's basically Mahatattva. So Prakriti agitated by time factor becomes Mahatattva. But Mahatattva is also very, very subtle. And the predominant quality is Sattva there. But then through the process of gradual agitation by matter, then Sattva turns to Rajas, Rajas turns to Tamas, Satagun, Rajagun, Tamagun. Tamas turns to Ahamkar, ego. And then the ego also has further three divisions: ego in Sattva, ego in Tamas, ego in Rajas. Ego or Ahankar in Sattva leads to the formation of mind and devatas. Ego in Rajas leads to the senses, and ego in Tamas leads to the sense objects like the sound and the gross elements. But the point here is, there's a lot of bifurcation, and ultimately the jiva is gets covered by ignorance. Shrira avidya jal. They're covered with the network of senses and the ignorance. So I have not yet fully heard, but it was very interesting in a lot of technical details. But I think this is very relevant to what we are studying currently. So,
will you repeat one more time?
Yes, Prabhuji, which part?
Just to summarize again one more time.
Cycle, yeah, sure. So Prakriti or Pradhana, Prakriti means nature. Even the gunas are there, modes, Satagun, Rajagun, Tamagun, as we just did in the Pradhana. Pradhana basically means chief. And as we mentioned, consider that like original chief matter in its indetectable state. Even the scientists also say is a dark matter. We cannot perceive it, we cannot see it, we cannot find it. It's the original, it's a dark matter. So that's their understanding, but we understand through Shastra what all it includes. And then the Kala, time factor, is the agitator. Here referred to as Krishna energy. Krishna says, Kala is me. I'm the time factor. Kala is the energy of Krishna. So Kala agitates the Prakriti, and then it becomes Mahatattva, which is like the matter in the finer state. When it further, the agitation goes on, Sattva, which is primarily the Mahatattva is in Sattva Gun. Finally, it goes from Sattva to Rajas, Rajas to Tamas, and Tamas to Ahankar. And Ahankar has further three layers of Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas: goodness, passion, and ignorance. Goodness leads to mind and the devatas. Rajas leads to the senses, and Tamas leads to the gross elements, the sense objects like the sound, etc. This is all given in the Bhagavatam also, which that was the topic for his class actually. So, but scriptures, multiple things are mentioned in multiple points in the scriptures, but all have the same conclusion. So we see this word coming, Pradhan, Prakriti, Mahatattva, multiple times. But as you may have heard, that His Holiness Bhanu Maharaj is a very, very scholarly devotee and has written multiple books and translated multiple books of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. So I was very fortunate to hear that today. Is it okay now?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, perfect. Let's move on to text number 61. Who wants to read? Anyone wants to read? Angela Priya, you want to read?
Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Text 61. Ateva Krishna Mula Jagat Karana Prakriti Karana Yeche Ajagalastana. Translation. Therefore, Lord Krishna is the original cause of the cosmic manifestation. Prakriti is like the nipples on the neck of a goat, for they cannot give any milk. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The external energy composed of Pradhana or Prakriti as the ingredient supplying portion and Maya as the causal portion is known as Maya Shakti. Inert material energy is not the actual cause of the material manifestation. For Karanarnav Vashai Mahavishnu, the plenary expansion of Krishna activates all the ingredients. It is in this way that material nature has the power to supply the ingredients. The example given is that iron has no power to heat or burn, but after coming in contact with fire, the iron becomes red hot and can then diffuse heat and burn other things. Material nature is like iron, for it has no independence to act without the touch of Vishnu, who is compared to fire. Lord Vishnu activates material nature by the power of his glands. And then the iron-like material nature becomes a material supplying agent, just as iron made red hot becomes a burning agent. Material nature cannot independently become an agent for supplying the material ingredients. This is more clearly explained by Sri Kapila Dev, an incarnation of Godhead in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 3:28-40. Yatholmukad Visphulingad Dhumadvapi Susambhavad Apya Atmatvena Bhimatadat Yathagni Prithag Ulmukat. Although smoke, flaming wood, and sparks are all considered together as ingredients of a fire, the flaming wood is nevertheless different from the fire, and the smoke is different from the flaming wood. The material elements, earth, water, fire, etc., are like smoke. The living entities are like sparks, and material nature as Pradhana is like the flaming wood. But all of them together are recipients of power from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and are thus able to manifest their individual capacities. In other words, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the origin of all manifestations. Material nature can supply only when it is activated by the glands of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just as a woman can deliver a child after being impregnated by the semen of a man, so material nature can supply the material elements after being glanced upon by Mahavishnu. Therefore, Pradhan cannot be independent of the superintendence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 9:10. Maya adhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. Prakriti, the total material energy, works under the superintendence of the Lord. The original source of the material elements is Krishna. Therefore, the attempt of the atheistic Sankhya philosophers to consider material nature the source of these elements, forgetting Krishna, is useless, like trying to get milk from the nipple-like bumps of skin hanging on the neck of a goat. Thank you. Back to you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. There's a lot in this verse, right? So let's see. There are a lot of analogies here, and let's reflect upon that a little bit to understand that better. What is Srila Prabhupada mentioning, or what is this verse mentioning? Let's see here, through certain points, maybe, because there are quite a few analogies also shared here. Let's write. So what are the analogies mentioned here? Who all can explain, like one each maybe? And what does that mean?
So iron becomes red hot in touch of fire.
Nice. So what does that, like, how do we connect?
So iron is equivalent to Prakriti, that means unmanifested form. And when Krishna's glance or energy or by Kal, it is agitated, becomes Mahatattva, it manifests.
And it looks like fire. Very nice. It gets the property of the fire, but ultimately it's because of the fire, the original fire. Very nice. Then one other analogy is also shared here. Smoke, three things: smoke, flaming wood, and sparks. So smoke, what is smoke compared to here in this verse?
Material elements are like smokes, like earth.
Yes, material elements. Yeah. So this is like a complete one analogy. So I'll put this in a separate. Smoke and then fire, wood. What is that compared to? Pradhana, right? And then the sparks. What is that?
Living entities are sparks.
Living entities. So we all have seen this, right? Whenever we have, like, I'm sure we all have lit a fire at some point in our life using some firewood. So smoke comes from there, from the firewood, right? Actually, sparks also come. So it may seem that the firewood is the cause of all these things, correct? It may seem like that. But although the smoke, the flaming wood, and sparks are considered together as ingredients of fire, the flaming wood is nevertheless different from the fire, and the smoke is different from the flaming wood. So without the, the person who lit up this fire, so they're all different from the fire, right? And that fire is basically the original, the person who lit the fire, who started the fire, is basically the energy or the energetic behind that. In other words, that's basically the origin or the Supreme Lord here, Supreme Personality of Godhead. One more analogy is also shared here. Anyone?
So, woman after being impregnated by the man, so the baby born. So the woman is like the womb, actually the material nature, and the seeds bakala by energy of Lord, and then being made by man, so that is the Lord's energy. So that causes the new life to be born.
Wonderful, wonderful. Like the father gives the seed to the mother, similarly the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, gives his glance to the material nature, and then the subsequent causes or creation happens, right? There's one more analogy in here. There are 4 analogies in this verse. So first is iron and fire, then the second one, then anything else we are missing here? Then goat, yeah, Manjali mentioned goat. So what is a goat analogy? Let's look at a picture. I'm not sure that's helpful. Let's look at this picture. It will be helpful. Lakshay, you understood the goat analogy? You understood, okay. Let's see if you can explain. And I have a picture for you to help you to explain. What did you understand? What's
Like material people will think that that like
milk.
yeah, milk.
This one they feel as a milk.
Oh. The things
the skin tags, yeah, near the neck?
yeah, people like materialists think that that's like milk, and that's because they're materialist and because that they're stuck to Maya.
Nice. So basically the people or the less intelligent may think, they may appear, this may appear like the the udders of a goat, or you may have seen the udders of a cow, which are near the rear legs of the goat or the cow. I mean, the cow does not have this kind of skin hanging. The bumps of Prabhupada is saying, nipple-like bumps of skin hanging on the neck of a goat. That's exactly what is being referred here. So those who forgetting Krishna, Sankhya philosophers, to consider material nature as the cause, they forget. It's like trying to get milk from the nipple-like bumps of the skin hanging from the goat. You will not get the real milk, will not get the Sankhya philosophers who are trying to understand the, forgetting Krishna, taking Krishna out of the equation from the understanding of the material world will not lead one to the true understanding. Therefore, the Sankhya philosophy is not, like, it's very tough and difficult path. It's a very like it's an ascending process of attaining knowledge, and bhakti is a descending process of attaining knowledge. In the Sankhya philosophy, Krishna or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one may come to the understanding after many years and decades and lifetimes of attempt. Oh, this is not God, this is not supreme. Okay, this is Maya. Okay, that's Maya. Neti. This is not supreme. This is not one may. But the chances of one getting distracted, like assuming the nipples hanging like on the skin tags hanging from the neck of a goat, and one may think, yeah, that's the real cause of milk. So basically the point is one will be misled. But in bhakti, our process is called descending process or avroha path. We learn in bhakti, Krishna comes first. Krishna is to Bhagavan Swayam. In the Bhagavad Gita, in the introduction, Prabhupada mentions so clearly how Krishna is the Supreme Lord. Then only Bhagavad Gita has meaning. This is Bhakti Yoga. So there are 4 analogies, my dear friends, in this verse. The iron and the fire, then the father and the mother and the seed. Number 3, the flame, wood and the sparks and the original fire. And number 4, the original nipples of the goat, which are basically the udders, which produce milk, and the things like skin tags hanging, which appear like milk producing parts, but they are not. So this is basically pratyaksha praman. But hearing, Sankhya philosophy relies more on the seeing is believing, my energy, my strength, my analytical abilities, I. But bhakti believes on the Shravanam Kirtanam path. We hear from bona fide Guru, then understand, oh, this is not the real thing. Is it okay? Everyone good with these 4 examples shared here? Okay. Then we can move to text 62. Yes, Lakshay Prabhu, please.
Text 62. Maya amshe kahi tera nimitta karana seha na hai yate karta hai tu narayana. Translation. The Maya aspect of material nature is the immediate cause of the cosmic manifestation. But it cannot be the real cause. For the original cause is Lord Narayana. Hare Kṛṣṇa Prabhu.
Very well. Thank you, Prabhu. The word, very nice word, is nimitta. Nimitta matra bhava savyasachi. Krishna says to Arjuna, hey Arjuna, hey savyasachi. Anyone can tell? Bonus question. The meaning of savyasachi?
Whose
Referring to both hands?
are working hands.
Equally dominant.
So one who can equally perform like we cannot write, maybe I'm referring to myself. I cannot write as clean as from my left hand as I can write from my right hand, right? So in English, there's a word called ambidextrous also is used. So Arjuna was so powerful warrior, he could use both the hands equally, like shoot this way, shoot that way. So nimitta matra. Nimitta means, hey, you become the instrument. That's also a very nice mood in the Sankirtana while chanting, reading, hearing, book distribution, prasadam distribution, outreach, MSF, kirtans, etc., etc. All we have to become an instrument. Nimitta. The mercy is flowing of the Guru Parampara, Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu, Śrīla Prabhupada. They are the ocean of mercy, Parama Karuna. They are Karuna Arnava. They are Kripa Sindhu. They are the ocean of mercy. All we have to become is an instrument of that mercy and let it flow transparent. So when we go to MSF and any other like outreach event, we should be having this mood. Oh Krishna, let me become a nimitta. Let me become an instrument. You are the original doer. It's not that I distributed 5 books today, I distributed 10 books. We are a very insignificant, doer. They are already doing it. The original cause is not us, the Guru Parampara. We have to just become a nimitta. Right? So as the Maya is the immediate cause or the nimitta karana, but it cannot be the real cause. Who is the original cause? The original cause is Sri Narayana. Okay, 63. Yes, Vasati, Mataji, want to read?
Dhanavat pranam Prabhuji, dhanavat pranam everyone. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupada. Text 63. Ghotero nimitto hetu joiche kumbhokar, toiche jagoter karta purush avatar. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Just as the original cause of an earthen pot is the potter, so the creator of the material world is the first Purusha incarnation, who is Karunodakshai. Karunarnavashai Vishnu. Prabhuji, it's Karunarnavashai Vishnu. Is that Karunodakshai Vishnu?
Yeah, they're the same, basically. Arnava means water or the ocean. Udaka also means same. Karana Udakashai, Karnar Arnavashai, Karnar Sindhushai, Karnar Ambo, Nidhisha, it's same. They are like synonyms to the ocean of water. Right? So we may see sometimes words used interchangeably. They're all synonymous.
Yeah, but so here Krishna is the cause of all causes. Like here the analogy is giving earthen pot and the potter. The potter is actually the creator of the earthen pot. And His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrita Swami Maharaj was telling in one of his lecture that sometimes a person who is very, very intelligent and people says, oh, he is a genius, he is very intelligent. But that's intelligence is given by Krishna. So that's not his intelligence. He was telling that's Krishna's intelligence. So all the properties belongs to Krishna. So as you said, we are only the instrument in his hand. Back to Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Very nice. And a very nice lesson here. Sometimes we may get a lot of success in outreach. Oh, for one program, let's say 50 people came, 100 people came, or 500, depending upon. And sometimes only 2 people may come, or even 1 person may come. So we should not get too excited when a lot of people come. And we should not get too morose when only 1 person shows up, or even no person shows up. Prabhupada said, preach to the 4 walls. Because ultimately, we are not the doer. Yet, at the same time, we should not be lazy. It's not that, okay, I'll just sit casually and whoever has to come will come. Yes, we have to do our part by advertising, by reaching out, calling, letting people know that there's a program, some special guest is coming, like how we do for Janmashtami, which is coming. We must leave no stone unturned to let the whole world know that there's a program happening, that people please come, please try, please. We give them advance notice, call them, remind them, email, Gmail, Facebook, all that. Try our best. And then after doing our best, leave the rest. One Krishna. That ultimately, you are the original cause. If you want, 1 million people will come. If you want, no one will come. As you desire, let it be. Let your desire be the. You know what's best. You know everything. But all we have today, we have to, that Krishna, spiritual master, Guru Parampara, I did my best. Right? I did my best. I fought like a warrior, like Arjuna, in the preaching mission. And rest is up to you. Nityaṁ. It's a very nice meditation. That any thoughts, any comments, any experiences anyone wants to share? It's a very nice point to reflect upon.
So 7-8 years back, at the beginning of my Tampa stay, one Maharaj came, I forgot his name. He made all the Bhāgavatam in dictation, in divine voice.
Amla Bhakta Swami Maharaj.
Yes. So Maharaj came at the night, good program, and the morning we have Bhagavatam program. And the Bhagavatam program, me, Kartik Prabhu, and Shri Prabhu only. So Maharaj came after taking shower, everything, and he saw only 2-3 people. Was it only 2 people, 3 people? Right away, Maharaj said, no, that is not my job. My job, it doesn't matter. 1 people, 2 people, or 1,000 people. I have to speak Krishna Katha. So Maharaj started talking about the Krishna for next 1.5 hours, non-stop. So that still I remember, that one. Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Thank you for sharing that wonderful experience. Even Prabhupada, in the beginning, if we see Prabhupada's diaries, Prabhupada wrote in his diary, in the beginning, in the matchless gift, oh, today 3 people came for my program. And they took some apple also. And they seemed to be very interested. Prabhupada, this is all written by himself, by Srila Prabhupada. Today 5 people came for my program. Just imagine, right? So we should not get, and sometimes we're distributing books. We may try to 5 people, 1 may take, or 0 may take. But all we have to do is remember this meditation, that pray hard. Yes, we have to try our best, learn from the acharyas, learn from the experts, senior Vaishnavas, etc., etc. Try our very, very best, but always remember, in like sukhe tako, dukhe tako, sada hari bole tako. We discussed that bhajan yesterday. So in success or in failure, whether we distribute 1 million books or 1 book, whether 1,000 people come for the program, whether like 1 person comes, whether we get thousands and thousands of dollars of donation or it's only $5, that's all Krishna's will. We have to be a nimitta, a genuine, transparent, selfless, with no hidden agendas, nimitta, an agent of the mercy of Lord Chaitanya and Srila Prabhupada. That's all. That's all we have to try genuinely. All good. So let's read 1 more verse. Anyone who has not yet read? 64. Yes, Shilpa Mataji.
Prabhuji, I'll try. Okay. Text 64. Krishna kartha maya tanra karena sahaya ghatera karana chakra dandadi upayana. Hare Krishna. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada Ki Jai. Lord Krishna is the creator and Maya only helps him as an instrument, just like the potter's wheel and other instruments which are the instrumental causes of a pot. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. To what I understand, I mean, you have been explaining in the previous slokas also that cause of all causes is Lord Krishna, and from him is Maya coming. So she is a kind of a supporter to Lord, but ultimately the cause of all causes is always Krishna. Is what I understood. Please add.
Thank you, Mataji. So I think we covered 1 more analogy here. Let's write that down. So goat, skin, tags, versus goat, nipples. Then the last point here, potter. Who is the potter here in this analogy, which we had to this verse and last verse?
Krishna.
Krishna, the Supreme Lord, Narayana, Vishnu, etc. Potters, instruments. What are they compared to?
We are living entities.
Living
Maya,
entity?
Prakriti.
Maya, Prakriti, yeah, Maya, or the energy. And then the pot is the material creation. So just to kind of help to understand this better, so imagine this is like the wheel, okay? And this is the shaft, right? So this is a potter's wheel, and he's rotating this. The potter is standing, sitting here, and with his hands, he is moving this, right? Correct? So the potter is the original person, correct? Now what comes out of this is the pot. So danda refers to the stick. Danda adi. Adi means this, etc. So the, some mud is used, some water is used, some other things are used. But ultimately, who's the energetic behind? The energetic is the potter. The Shakti Man is the Supreme Lord who starts this the potter's wheel into action is the potter. And then this product comes out of this. That product is basically the pot. A less intelligent person will say, hey, the pot came from all this apparatus. But who started the apparatus? So the potter. So this is called as the nimitta karan, or the gauna karana, or the indirect cause, or maybe the direct cause here, but the indirect or the remote cause or the original cause, primeval cause, different words are used, is basically Krishna. Stu Bhagavan Swayam, Krishna Sarva Karana, Karanam Adi Purusha. Sorry for my bad drawing, but helps to understand, I guess.
No, you do the good one.
As long as it helps to. Is it helpful? All these pictures, drawings, listing out analogies and stuff.
Definitely, Prabhuji. You have a good future as a cartoonist.
Hare Krishna. Whatever Krishna desires, we have to be a nimitta. Okay, one more verse and then let's pause there. 66. Who is not here? It's Vijaya Mataji, please.
65. No problem.
66. 65.
65.
This is 66.
Now 65. Yeah, please.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Text 65. Dura hate purusha kare mayate avadhana jiva rupa virya tate karena adhana. Translation. The first Purusha cast his glance at Maya from the distance, and thus he impregnates her with the seed of life in the form of the living entities. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Who was the first Purusha here?
Karanadakshay Vishnu.
Karanadakshay Vishnu. Very nice. So that's basically the Supreme Lord. Durahaita, from a distant, he just glances, he just sees, like the father, gives the seed, like the Supreme Lord here gives the seed of his glance. He impregnates her with the seed or the virya and gives the energy to the inert matter, referring to Pradhana, the seed of life in the form of the living entities. There's a nice joke in this regard. One time Bill Gates, that's a joke. Bill Gates said, hey, I can do whatever God can do. He said to God, oh God, what do you think? You're great? I can also do. I have so many employees. I am the big expert engineers, scientists, researchers, and whatnot. They work for me. I can create whatever you can create. He said, oh, really? I can. So God took some mud, some earth, some dust in his hands, and blew air to it and created life, living entity. He says, oh, I can also do that. I figured out how you do it. Bill Gates also took some dust, earth, from the earth, from the Mother Earth, and God said, create your own dust. Create your own dust. We cannot create anything. We may say, oh, we have made big airplanes and big some jet planes and nuclear missiles for mass destruction, but nonsense. And big iPhones, and all that is basically interaction of earth, water, fire, air, ether in different forms, and intelligence. And ultimately, who's the cause? Balam balavatam chaham. Paurushya purusham nishu, and the strength of the strong and the intelligence of the intelligent. Everything, Krishna is the doer. We are just a nimitta. So we should never be proud, whatever we do in lives. Because the moment Krishna will see this person really thinks that, oh, he's the big doer, Krishna will teach a good lesson. Mike Tyson, the great, the great boxer, the world champion boxer, used to say, I'm the greatest. He was really powerful boxer. He was really powerful to the extent that he would, he ate ear of one of his opponent. So powerful. He was really strong, really strong. And that's how he became the world boxing champion. And he used to say, I'm the greatest. And later he got Parkinson, another disease. He could not lift his hand to drink water from the very hands he used to be very proud of. The very hands he was very proud of, he could not even lift a glass of water. Then he said, in one more interview, he said, I forgot to add a word when I said, I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest fool who used to think I'm the greatest. Right? I'm the greatest fools of Jananti Mamur. Ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. A foolish person thinks I'm the doer, but although everything is running under the direction of the Lord. So it's a great meditation as we're reading this. Never be proud of anything. Be humble, be grateful, be a nimitta. Mother Ganga is flowing. One of my teachers used to say, Ganga to bahiri, Ganga to behti rahegi. बोलते ना बहती गंगा में हाथ धो लो. This movement, this Prabhupada's movement will continue for 10,000 years. Sometimes we may think, oh, I am this, I am the great book distributor, I am the president, I am a great Kirtaniya, I cook very nice. But who are we? All we are is an instrument of mercy. All we have to be, this movement will continue, devotees will come, preaching will go, bhagavatams will go, mashmis will happen. All we have to do is become an instrument in this flow of the transcendental Ganges of devotion. Become an instrument. That's our glory. That's our glory. And that's a request also of Lord Chaitanya. And that's a request of Srila Prabhupada as well. And if we do that, then we get the credit. We are not looking for credit, but we become dear in the eyes of God. We become dear in the eyes of God. We become dear in the eyes of Prabhupada. And then we become very special recipient of the mercy. One of my teachers has said that if you become an instrument in helping others be Krishna conscious, Srimati Radharani will make sure that you are Krishna conscious. If you become an instrument, very nice line, I always think about it. If you become an instrument to help others become Krishna conscious, the Guru Parampara Srimati Radhika Śrī Krishna will help you to become more Krishna conscious. So that should be our mood, that we're just an instrument. His Grace Bhishika Prabhu says a very nice line, don't try to be a great devotee. Try to be a good devotee, but try to have great sadhana, try to have great chanting, try to have great reading, great hearing, great following of the regulative principle. This is what we are trying. And by doing so, you'll become a good devotee, and then eventually even a great devotee. You should not aspire, but that's the natural byproduct. If you're doing great sadhana, then that should be our aspiration, to be a good devotee. As Bhaktivinoda Thakur actually says that. So, Nimitta Matra Bhava Sabyasachi. Nimitta Matra. Let's read that verse. It's so coming like 10 times to my mind. Nimitta Matra Bhava. 1133. Let's see what this 1133. Yeah, found it. Let's read it. Okay, who has not yet read? Anyone left out? Okay, then Vipul Prabhu can read.
Also devotees, Pranam. Tasmattam utsthishta jasya lavahasya jitya ashatrun bunksha rajyam samaradham mai boite nihataha purvam eva nimitta matram bhavo shava shachina. Translation by His Divine Grace as Prabhupada. Therefore get up, prepare to fight and win glory, conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Shabbhasachi, can be but an instrument in the fight.
Isn't it beautiful? They're already put to death by my arrangement. Krishna is saying, but you become an instrument in the fight and enjoy the flourishing kingdom. Isn't that beautiful? That's basically Krishna. He has already made all the arrangements. Lord Chaitanya has already, arranged everything, but he wants us to become an instrument. Couldn't Lord Chaitanya, this question comes, couldn't Lord Chaitanya come and give the Sankirtana movement in the Western country? Couldn't he do that? Someone asked this question to Prabhupada. Of course. Couldn't Shraddha Goswami do that? Couldn't Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur do that? Of course they could do. Prabhupada replied humbly, but they left the service for their insignificant servant, right? Like all of us. Of course, mainly Prabhupada. When I was talking to one devotee recently, like Prabhupada delivered the whole world. Prabhupada traveled to the whole world. At least you take the responsibility to deliver the community you're living in. The community, the complex, the zip code, at least. If every devotee takes responsibility, okay, in this zip code, it is my service to please Prabhupada, to deliver, like to become an instrument of the mission of Lord Chaitanya. That would be great service. Imagine how many thousands of zip codes are there, or even a community, even 5 houses, based on our, inspiration. And we should dream big, aim big, right? When we focus in Krishna, will give the strength also, right? But we should try our best to at least be a nimitta. Anything else before we pause? It's 9 o'clock. Grantha Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Purana ki jai, Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta ki jai, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Mahāshaya ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaura Bhaktavinda ki jai. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaः. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.